Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. Watch my video and subscribe my channel. Dr. Lee's dangerous vow. Save Luna and prove Poppy failed. Bold and beautiful spoilers reveal Lee Finnegan's stunning decision to discreetly care for comatose Luna Nozawa, recalling her past with Finn. Will her desperate plot work? Lee Finnegan's shocking secret mission to save Luna. The doctor makes a life-changing promise that could destroy the Finnegan family forever. Hold on to your seats, soap fans, because Lee Finnegan just made a vow that's going to change everything. In Wednesday's blockbuster episode, the dedicated doctor leaned over her comatose niece, Luna Nozawa, and made a vow so profound, so fraught with family drama, that we're still pulling our jaws up off the floor. The promise that changes everything. Picture this. Lee hanging over Luna's hospital bed, monitors beeping, the weight of the world on her shoulders. And then, she makes the promise. "I won't let you die," she murmurs, her voice thick with sorrow. But wait, it gets juicier. Lee doesn't simply pledge to save Luna's life. Oh no. She pledges to offer her something Poppy Nozawa never could. Stability. Talk about throwing shade at your own sister while her daughter struggles for her life. Lee has literally taken a leave of absence from the hospital to dedicate herself to this purpose. The woman who saves lives for a livelihood has put her entire career on hold for the niece who tried to murder her family. Make it make sense. Deja vu, anyone? If this sounds familiar, that's because it is. Remember when Lee performed this exact same stunt with Finn? When everyone assumed he was dead, she snuck him out of the hospital and nursed him back to health in secret. The woman has a playbook and she's sticking to it. But here's where it gets complicated. Finn was an innocent victim. Luna, she's a lady who tortured Steffi, threatened baby Hayes, and left havoc in her wake. Yet, here's Lee, showering her with the family support she never gave her before, anxious to prove she can succeed where Poppy failed. The bold and beautiful spoilers. Dr. Lee's dangerous vow. Save Luna and prove Poppy failed. Bold and beautiful spoilers reveal Lee Finnegan's stunning decision to discreetly care for comatose Luna Nozawa, recalling her past with Finn. Will her desperate plot work? Published 11 hours ago on July 29th, 2025 by Nancy Bannisterly. Pledge, Save Luna. Lee Finnegan's shocking secret mission to save Luna. The doctor makes a life-changing promise that could destroy the Finnegan family forever. Hold on to your seats, soap fans, because Lee Finnegan just made a vow that's going to change everything. In Wednesday's blockbuster episode, the dedicated doctor leaned over her comatose niece, Luna Nozawa, and made a vow so profound, so fraught with family drama, that we're still pulling our jaws up off the floor. The promise that changes everything. Picture this. Lee hanging over Luna's hospital bed, monitors beeping, the weight of the world on her shoulders. And then, she makes the promise. "I won't let you die," she murmurs, her voice thick with sorrow. But wait, it gets juicier. Lee doesn't simply pledge to save Luna's life. Oh no. She pledges to offer her something Poppy Nozawa never could. Stability. Talk about throwing shade at your own sister while her daughter struggles for her life. Lee has literally taken a leave of absence from the hospital to dedicate herself to this purpose. The woman who saves lives for a livelihood has put her entire career on hold for the niece who tried to murder her family. Make it make sense. Deja vu, anyone? If this sounds familiar, that's because it is. Remember when Lee performed this exact same stunt with Finn? When everyone assumed he was dead, she snuck him out of the hospital and nursed him back to health in secret. The woman has a playbook and she's sticking to it. But here's where it gets complicated. Finn was an innocent victim. Luna, she's a lady who tortured Steffi, threatened baby Hayes, and left havoc in her wake. Yet, here's Lee, showering her with the family support she never provided her before, anxious to prove she can succeed where Poppy failed. See also, BNB spoilers. Will pushes Elektra into modeling. Is she the new Hope Logan? Meanwhile in Italy, While Lee's making life-altering promises in Los Angeles, the situation in Italy is nearing fever pitch. Brooke, Logan, and Ridge Forrester are having romantic boat trips and attending the beautiful Luisa Beccaria fashion show collaboration in Capri. But don't let the Italian sunlight fool you. Storm clouds are gathering. Brooke's heart is being pushed in two directions. Sure, she's spending close times with Ridge, but Nick Marone is still very much in the picture. Even Eric Forrester can see what's occurring. He's virtually begging Ridge to wake up and smell the espresso before Nick sweeps Brooke away for good. She's becoming torn between you and Nick, Eric cautions his son. And he's not wrong. The patriarch is pressing Ridge to see that Brooke is his future, not Taylor Hayes. But will Ridge listen? Or will his stubbornness cost him everything? What this all means. Lee's statement isn't just about medical care, it's a declaration of war. She's effectively saying, I can be the mother you needed, the one Poppy couldn't be. This isn't healing, it's a takeover. Think about it. Every moment Lee spends caring for Luna is another moment she's proving her superiority as a caregiver. Every slight improvement in Luna's condition is evidence that Lee was right all along regarding her sister's failings. This promise is wrapped in so many layers of sisterly rivalry and bitterness, it could feed tales for months. The ticking time bomb. But here's the thing with promises made in secret. They have a way of exploding dramatically. What happens when Steffi discovers her mother-in-law is nursing the lady who tried to kill her? Finn finds his mother has been lying to everyone again. Poppy finds out Lee has stolen her daughter and is playing mother? See also, bold and beautiful spoilers. Hope Logan on edge as seductive Daphne Rose returns to seduce her fiancé Carter. And let's not forget the biggest question of all, what if Luna wakes up? Will she be grateful for Lee's care, or will she be the same dangerous, unstable woman who caused all this havoc in the first place? Meanwhile, back in Italy, Ridge is about to learn some shocking news that will push him to revise his perspective. Could this be the wake-up call he needs? Or will he discover too late that Brooke's slipping away while he's been fixated on Taylor? One thing's for certain. Lee Finnegan's sacred pledge has set events in motion that can't be stopped. She's toying with fire, thinking she can control the flames. But in soap opera universe, promises like this always lead to catastrophic consequences. The only issue is, who's going to get burned first? Grace blackmails Finn to bury Liam's scam, finds perfect leverage? The bold and the beautiful spoilers warn that Grace Buckingham could blackmail John Finnegan to bury her Liam Spencer scheme. Will Grace find the appropriate leverage to hold over Finn's head? Finn is already recognizing the danger signs when it comes to the phony tumor and faux operation that Grace cooked up. Grace has obviously been lying this whole time. Thus, B&B spoilers say Finn will face her once everything unravels. Liam feels absolutely normal now, and that's most likely because Grace's medicines were the real reason why he experienced deteriorating symptoms. Grace worked out a sophisticated strategy to score Bill Spencer's $1 million. But what happens if Finn discovers the truth? Since Grace will be desperate to keep her profession intact and escape incarceration, she might turn to some blackmail. If Grace can come up with enough dirt to keep Finn quiet, then she might be able to get by with her behavior, at least for a while. We can think of some nice blackmail material that involves Finn's beloved adoptive mom and his not-so-dead daughter. Lee Finnegan staged Luna Nozoa's demise and sneaked her out of the hospital. So that's something Grace might know or at least be able to find out through a dodgy accomplice. What if when Finn threatens to expose Grace, she fires right back with a threat to expose Lee? Grace could stun Finn with the knowledge that Lee broke plenty of regulations and laws by smuggling criminal Luna out for a private recovery somewhere. Perhaps Grace might promise that if she's going down, she's taking Lee down with her. In other words, if Grace has to lose her medical license and land behind prison, she might make sure Lee does the same. Would Finn be willing to keep his lips shut about Grace's swindle to keep Lee out of the slammer? Finn's tangled feelings for Luna could come into play as well if Lee finally asks him to keep quiet for his daughter's sake. Lee doesn't want Luna back in prison and feels that she needs true family support now. This might turn into quite the mess for Finn and might even lead to him harboring a massive secret from Steffi Forrester. The bold and the beautiful teasers say Finn will get information on some unpleasant developments in the coming weeks. Did Grace botch Liam's surgery? Turned him into a monster? The bold and the beautiful spoilers indicate Dr. Grace Buckingham may have botched Liam Spencer's surgery, and there could be major ramifications. Brain surgery is no joke, and one false nick with a knife might transform Liam's entire personality. When Liam Spencer begins his recovery path, will he begin acting strange and out of character? Here's what's coming up next on Bold and Beautiful. Spoilers down below. Bold and the beautiful spoilers indicate Dr. John Finnegan is already dubious of Grace's $1 million operation. Finn and Bridget Forrester are on the case and keen to get to the bottom of what transpired in that operating room. What did Grace do in the operating room? If Grace did something to Liam when he was under, they will figure it out eventually. But there may not be much they can do to undo the damage Dr. Buckingham committed. A prevalent, bold, and beautiful idea on the internet is that Grace didn't do any procedure and misled Bill Spencer. But what if she did undertake brain surgery and in her haste injured part of Liam's brain and affected his personality, temper, memories, or possibly something more? There are no bold spoilers hinting that Scott Clifton is leaving the soap anytime soon, which suggests he will survive. But what if he doesn't have his long-term memory or has forgotten some of his relatives or friends? Liam is a changed man. According to BNB teasers, Liam won't be the same man that he was before surgery. When Thomas Forrester had a tumor, he was carrying around a Hope Logan mannequin. Could removing Liam's tumor have a similar effect on him? Even worse, Dollar Bill's son could become angry or violent if she damaged certain parts of his brain. It all began on a stormy Los Angeles night when Dr. Lee Finnegan, cloaked in a trench coat and driven by desperation, stepped into a hidden wing of a private clinic she had quietly leased under a pseudonym, where the air was thick with antiseptic and secrecy. As she passed the double doors, she locked eyes with the pallid, unconscious form of her niece, Luna Nozoa, hooked up to machines singing a somber melody of suspended life. This was the moment Lee's breaking point, rebirth, and retribution all rolled into one. "I won't let you die," she whispered with a trembling voice, tears brimming in her steely eyes. "I will save you, and I will prove Poppy failed." This vow wasn't just a doctor's oath. It was a declaration of war against her sister, Poppy Nozawa, and a defiant act of deflection from the chaos Luna had caused, from Steffi's blood on her hands to the gun that almost took Liam Spencer's life. But this wasn't the first time Lee had disappeared with a presumed dead family member. Memories of bringing Finn back from the brink came pouring back. But this time was different. This time her motives were twisted with hatred, redemption, and rivalry. While she called it caring, this was control, and her ambition to outshine Poppy's inadequacies as a mother was influencing her every action. She began fabricating medical documents, rerouting hospital equipment, and even blackmailing a young nurse to assist her. Meanwhile, Poppy was left reeling, assuming her daughter had perished. The anguish destroyed her psyche, and no one guessed that Luna's death was a beautifully staged hoax by her own aunt. But back at the private facility, Lee checked Luna's vitals with obsessive care, uttering daily affirmations, braided her hair, even playing classical music to boost neuronal activity, treating her like the daughter she never had, or rather, the daughter Poppy never deserved. Yet difficulties boiled just beneath the surface. Back at the main hospital, John Finnegan was mystified by Lee's short leave of absence and her peculiar leaving words. "Do not believe everything you see. Sometimes the dead are not gone." At first, Finn thought her grief had taken a toll, but when a rogue technician reported that Luna's death certificate lacked autopsy data, the alarms in his medical mind started screaming. While he examined, another storm raged elsewhere, Dr. Grace Buckingham, besieged by Finn and Bridget Forrester's suspicions over Liam's miraculous tumor surgery, realized the walls were closing in. In a risky move, Grace visited Lee's abandoned office and uncovered something damning. A coded file called LN Luna Nozua. Putting 2 and 2 together, Grace understood Lee had faked Luna's death and could use this data to her advantage. In a startling twist, Grace confronted Finn and threatened to expose Lee's criminal activity unless he withdrew the inquiry into Liam's case. Finn, divided between truth and loyalty, suddenly found himself in an impossible position. He had just begun scraping the surface of Grace's $1 million scam, where Bill Spencer was deceived into paying for a phony or botched treatment that may have changed Liam's brain permanently. But now, Finn had the dreadful dilemma: pursue justice and risk sending Lee to prison, or protect his mother and bury a second plot. The weight of these simultaneous betrayals began unraveling his marriage with Steffi, who remained in the dark but suspected something serious was coming. Meanwhile, in Italy, Brooke, Logan, and Ridge Forrester were sliding into old routines. After a passionate boat trip off the coast of Capri and a beautiful Luisa Beccaria fashion show, the embers of their past rekindled. Eric Forrester alerted Ridge that Nick Marone was lurking close, aiming to take Brooke's heart, but Ridge, distracted by family conflict and Taylor's lingering presence, struggled to decide if Brooke truly was his destiny. This amorous tug-of-war reflected the instability back in L.A., where familial loyalties were imploding. Meanwhile, Luna stirred, just a flicker of a finger, a quiver of an eyelid, but Lee noticed. It was a sign. With unshakable tenacity, she redoubled her efforts, instituting unlicensed stem cell treatments, sneaking in neurologists under phony credentials, and even inserting experimental chemicals into Luna's foredrip. But every action she made expanded the illicit web she spun, and every improvement Luna displayed was a ticking time bomb of secrets waiting to burst. At the Spencer estate, Bill was beginning to feel suspicious too. Liam's conduct had grown erratic. Memory lapses, unexpected mood swings, flashes of wrath. He accused Hope of betraying him for Carter, then wailed hysterically the next hour. Bill demanded answers from Grace, who said it was post-operative stress. But when Bill discreetly acquired Liam's medical records and found no scans matching the tumor diagnosis, he went nuclear, and Grace realized she had to either escape or strike. And react she did. Grace contacted Poppy with a confession packed in poison. "Your daughter's alive, Poppy, but she's not yours anymore. Lee has her, and she doesn't plan to give her back." The revelation shattered Poppy's fragile psyche. Desperate, she broke into Lee's former lab, sifting through shredded paperwork, eager to learn where Luna had been taken. What she didn't know was that she was being watched by Ridge, who had recently returned from Italy and caught wind of Lee's actions through a Forrester security breach. Ridge confronted Poppy, who confessed the whole twisted truth, but made him vow not to tell Steffi. But secrets never stay concealed in Los Angeles. One nurse from Lee's underground facility, a young woman, called Elise, leaked knowledge of Luna's true state to Sheila Carter in exchange for hush money. Sheila, ever opportunistic, saw in Luna a new method to squeeze herself back into the family. She confronted Lee, not to destroy her, but to join forces. "Let me help you save her," she whispered. "No one knows how to bring someone back from the brink better than me." Lee, frightened, refused, but Sheila's involvement was the crack in the dam. Finn learned everything the next day. The hidden hospital, the coma, the experimental procedures, the lies, the treachery. It sent him spiraling. How could the lady who saved him now be using him as leverage in a quiet fight against Poppy and Grace? Meanwhile, Luna's situation took a terrible turn. She seized in her sleep, then slid into a deeper coma. Lee pushed even harder, risking it all with an unauthorized brain stimulation device. But just as she began the procedure, Poppy stormed into the secret ward, crying, "That's my daughter! You don't get to play God again." A violent argument ensued, with Luna in the middle, literally unconscious, while two sisters fought for the right to raise her. Finn arrived moments after, surprised, heartbroken, and unsure who to side with. In the final minutes of the episode, Luna's eyes flashed open and fixed onto her mother's. "Puppy," she murmured, weak but conscious. The room fell silent. Lee slumped onto a chair, sobbing from tiredness. But just as everyone drew a breath of optimism, Luna looked to Lee and whispered, "Why did you lie to them?" Her brain, it seemed, remembered everything, including what happened the night of the shooting. Just before the TV faded to dark, Liam emerged in a shadowy frame, peering on through the hospital glass, his expression unreadable. Had he followed someone there? Was he already changed forever by what Grace had done? Or was he coming for revenge? As the camera panned out, Ridge received a call from Brooke. "Ridge, something's happened with Luna. And Liam, he's not the same." The music swelled. The mysteries were unfolding. The family was splintering. And Lee's vow to save Luna and prove Poppy failed was no longer just a promise. It was the beginning of a reckoning.